Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the big Round 8 preview. We've got the Melbourne Demons on Sunday, 1:10 p.m. at the MCG. Mother's Day clash. It's first versus fourth. Melbourne going for 15 straight wins off the back of a premiership last year. And we're looking to get back on track and bounce back from last Saturday night's disappointing loss to Port. Go 6-2 and cement ourselves back in the top four. And to help me preview this, you may know him, you may not. He's a big AFL YouTuber and he's an even bigger Melbourne fan. Caden McDonald. I had a chat with him earlier today to talk about the big game. Enjoy the video. Welcome, mate.
Jake, thanks for having me. Saints TV. I've seen you on the socials. I've seen you on YouTube. It's global. It's trending. You're doing a great job, and I'm pumped to be on the show, mate.
Yeah, I'm pumped to have you on the show, mate. I'm starting to get a few more YouTubers on every week and talking about their club and getting a bit more of a opposition view. It's easy doing my previews, just my view, but I'm very curious to see what you are feeling about Sunday's game, which is what we're here to talk about. Sunday, 1:10 p.m. at the G, first versus fourth. This is the biggest Saints Dees game since 06 elimination final. Do you think?
Yeah, it would be. And Jonesy got a win in like his 6th or 7th game, and a finals win as well. And I don't reckon he won a final. Well, maybe until 2018. So yeah, it's a big game. It's funny that 1v4 get the 1:10 clash on a Sunday. That's
Yeah, Friday night. What's Friday night this week? It's is it Dogs Port?
I think there's two. I think there's two on Friday night this week. I reckon there's Dogs Port and then Freo and someone. But
it's Freo and North, isn't it?
How is that?
I think it's Freo and North. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, it's Freo and North.
Doubleheader on Friday. So it just shows where our clubs are still at, no matter how well we're travelling.
Yeah.
Still get the 1:10 on the Sunday. I actually don't mind the 1:10 on the Sunday. I'm a little bit over some of the night games because I don't know, it can get a bit rowdy up at the MCG when you're there on a Saturday night, getting in and out. But the Sunday 1:10, I'm excited. I have just a bad feeling. I don't know why, but I've just had a bad feeling all week that this could be the chance that a team, sends our O has got to go. That's a boxing term. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous that the undefeated streak and the 14 in a row is going to stop because the Saints are on fire. We're not humming as well as what I would have liked. We're getting the job done in sort of second and third gear. So the Saints, I reckon it's there for the taking if they rock up and play their best footy.
Yeah, well, I was watching a bit of Footy Classified just before catching up, and someone mentioned that Ross Lyon did a pretty good analysis on how the D's are going, but then also why he thinks the Saints can win. Did you see that?
I did see that. I didn't watch the whole clip, but it popped up on my Twitter. I watched 30 seconds, had an existential crisis and swiped out. But I have that same sort of that hunch. I don't know. There's something I'm liking a lot about the Saints. And it's really weird because after round one, I personally was like, oh, this club's in all sorts. Like, I was expecting like a big leap this year. It sort of felt like the Melbourne of 2020 where like you just missed out on the 8 last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think we were
but you're coming in hot.
A game and a bit percentage, but we're coming hot in the second half.
Yeah, coming in hot. And I thought it had all clicked. So I was really optimistic about the Saints this year. They lost in round one. And I don't know, like I'm certainly not the smartest football analysis type person, despite speaking about it every day for a living. But I was like, oh no, something's not right here. Like the Saints, this is not good. Yeah. And then I was almost close to going, oh, well, they just won't make it. If they can't beat the Pies, like what is going on? But since then, they played some great footy. I love how Maxi King's flying. I love Jack Higgins flying. I love Sinclair through the middle. Gresham's back to his form from a couple of years ago. And there's still like Billings and stuff that aren't quite in the side, I don't believe,
Billings
at the minute.
And Jones could come back this week. Yeah.
Really? Oh, God. So
I think Billings,
I'm so optimistic about the Saints at the moment. They're playing good footy, and I'm just excited to see how the clash unfolds. Like I'm, as a Melbourne supporter and someone who's been through the ringer for a lot of years, I'm still looking for signs to believe in this year. And I'm also looking for signs to not believe. And I feel like if we get over the line on Sunday, that'll be a massive confidence boost to knock off like a team that's really looking like a contender at the minute.
Yeah, because after that, I think you've got a couple of lesser teams. No offense to them, but you've got an easier run the next 2 weeks, and a lot of Dees fans I was reading on Big Footy were saying we get through the Saints and then we're 10-0 basically. So they're already jumping the gun a couple of weeks. I'm surprised. I know you're not like that because you just said sometimes you're looking for little chinks in the armor and you're a bit worried and you're not fully believing yet, even though you've won a flag in 14 in a row, which I'd kill for, by the way. But some D's fans, maybe it's a minority, but they jump in the gun a little bit. They're already going like whole season undefeated talk, some of them.
Well, those people weren't there in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Like
they were
genuinely
just there last year.
Well, genuinely they weren't, because I like the thought of enjoying the success, because in 2018, and this might speak about my personality, but in 2018, we had a little bit of success, but I had this like guilt and shame of the last 10 years that I didn't want to enjoy it. So like, it's like, oh, we just won an elimination final. And I'm like, yeah, we won an elimination final, but we won 2 games 3 years ago. So it's not like, I can't really enjoy this because we've been bad for so long. And then the next season we finished second last. And I sat there and I went, we made a prelim in 2018. We beat Hawthorn, like the Hawthorn side, like Hawks in a semi-final. We beat Geelong, Cats, a powerful side in Geelong in the elimination final. And I didn't enjoy it. I was sort of just freaking out about the next week. So when we were ticking along nicely last year, I wanted to really enjoy it. But it was really hard because of the pressure and the stress, and we hadn't achieved anything, but we're finishing on top. And so we won the flag, and I promised myself that I would enjoy it this year. And I have been. Like, I've sort of been going to games confident, even though I don't feel confident about this week for some reason. But I've been going to most weeks confident. We've been down in almost every game by 2 or 3 goals, and I've felt confident that our team will come back. And I've never been able to enjoy the footy like that before. But there's still this deep, like, it's still round 6, it's still round 7. I know the team has gears to go to, but I am still sort of, I need that confirmation bias of the last couple of weeks to really have me excited about this year. I'm still sort of like wondering when we're going to fall off. And I think some of the supporters, which I don't really see, because I feel like most supporters who have been through the ringer like me have a similar mindset, but some of the supporters that are going the early crow, I just think you're playing a dangerous game, because we've seen like a Collingwood side of 2011 who were very, very successful. They didn't get the ultimate prize.
Geelong 08.
The Tigers 18.
Tigers 18. Yep.
So
I would say even us in 09. We won 19
100%.
straight.
That's another one that gets mentioned as well. So but then again, if we were any of those teams, I'd be happy, because we've had a really good year. So I don't know. It's a weird one, but I'm a real. I just want to head down, bum up. We haven't, we're not there yet. Come on, boys, keep ticking along.
So you're saying if you don't win the flag this year, you're not going to be thinking that, oh shit, we missed a big opportunity here, or?
Well, I really have just been like, I don't want to win one flag and then disappear forever. This will sound really, really weird, but all I've craved is like a team that has sustained success for all my life, like a Swans and a Geelong and a team like that that's just sustained success, like top 8, top 4. They replenish the squad really well. The culture's it's just ingrained in the DNA. It's like the walls of GMHBA, as much as I don't really like Geelong, is just littered with like the history and the culture of the last 10 years, from your Scarlets to your Chapmans to your Moonies and whatnot. And it's still filtering in today, like what they changed and what they stood for. And that's all I've ever wanted. And as much as I don't want to be a team that wins like 20-2 and whatnot, which I'm not saying is going to happen, but it might happen. As much as I don't want to be a team that does that and doesn't win the ultimate prize, ultimately I want to support a team that's in the top 4 forever. And all I wanted, like, for years and years, was for one flag. And despite it being in Perth and despite us being in lockdown, I'll take that one to the bank. And now I feel like I'm playing with house money for the rest of my life. And I don't want to get too greedy. So as much like as, I think I would be absolutely shattered if they couldn't do it this year, because I feel like it's as good as a chance as any. I still got to have that sort of gratitude and perspective of like, hey, like if we're winning 20-2 and not quite making it, that's better than winning 2-20, which I have witnessed before. So that's sort of the mindset that I got.
Honestly, for so long, Melbourne and Saints have just kind of been like paralleled. You know what I mean? Like we're just
100%.
traveling the same journey.
100%.
Like I remember start of 2018, we played you in round 1, and that year was like, this is the Saints and Dees year. And we were really disappointing. I think we were 6 goals up in that round 1 game from memory, and then you guys just came storming back.
Yeah.
And then you go on to play in a prelim that year, and we missed finals completely and were just shit. But there's always been some link, and obviously Petrarca and all that talk, McCartan, you know, and we'll get
we've been
into
there.
the midfield battle and everything. But we've all been there. We've seen the worst, and we've come very close. I mean, for us, it's 09, 10, multiple prelims, 04, 5, 8. So we just haven't gotten the chocolates. But that final, I just want to know before we get into the actual game, and you've probably talked about it many times, but that...
Oh, I love talking about it.
I hate asking it, man. I don't even want to ask it because I know I'm just going to, after we finish talking here, I'm just going to go and watch highlights of 09 up until the prelim and then stop.
Yeah.
But that moment at the final siren, like, what the hell? Like, what do you, because for me, I don't even know, like, if someone asked me, Jakey, what would you do if Saints won the flag? Would you go nuts? Would you run naked in the streets? What would you do? And I'm like, I seriously reckon I'd walk outside and just be like, holy fuck. Like, I can't believe it. Like, just talk to myself for a little bit and then try and soak it in with family that are Saints fans. Like, were you watching it with your family, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was watching it with Dad. So Dad hasn't really been going to the footy for the last couple of years. He's had a couple of health issues and he gets quite overwhelmed and whatnot, like going to like a big ground and it's an hour and it's 2 hours away and it's 3 trains and it's a bit of an effort to get to the games. And sort of halfway through the end of last year, there was the COVID cases kept popping up and I kept thinking, nah, we'll be right. We'll be back at the footy by the end of the year. It's fine. It was sort of like June, July. And then it was like thousands a day, 10,000 a day, 20,000. And my heart just started to break because I was like, well, one, going to the G every week is like a staple for me. And it's like, it's a weird one because it's like at the moment sort of half work, but half like hobby. So it's sort of weird where it's like, oh, I got to go because I get my vlog out and that helps the channel. But I want to go because it's like my favorite part of the week. So when that got taken away, it was sort of work's getting taken away, but also the thing that gets me out of Geelong and out of the house for the week's getting taken away. So I started to get a little bit upset by the thought of like, oh man, this team's humming. I've never seen us play like this before, but I can't watch them. And one of the silver linings that I had was like, well, I haven't been to the footy with Dad for a couple of years now, and he probably would have tried to go to the grand final, but I think that would have been a little bit too much for him. I started to change like the narrative in my head. I'm like, well, if we do make it, I will get to watch a D's grand final with Dad. And if we made it and it was in Melbourne, I wouldn't. So I started to think like that and think positively. So yeah, it was me and Dad. We got a bucket of Colonel earlier in the day. I was just demolishing the worst diet at the end of last year. I was just so sad. Like lockdown just got me. Uber Eats every day. So I got a bucket of Colonel and watched a bit of Melbourne Storm. And then the game was on and there was like this faith that I'd built up over the season. And I was very cynical at the start of the year. And even like against Brisbane when we were down by three goals halfway through the year, I'm going, oh, we're not that good and Brisbane are too good. And then we came out and demolished them in the second half. And I'm going, what the hell? We don't do this. And then another game was like Geelong in the last round, 40 points, 45 points down at halftime. And I'm going, out of all the years I thought we could take it to Geelong in Geelong, this is the same old story. This is going to be 80 points. This is embarrassing. We were top of the ladder all year, and now we're going to have to go to Adelaide to play Port. Oh, I just felt so much frustration. And then in the second half, we come back and win. I'm going, what is happening? Like this isn't Melbourne. This is a Hawthorn response or a Richmond. This is not the D's.
And Gorney kicking straight in the moment.
We can talk about that moment for 6 hours, but that was like so full circle. And that felt like the universe had shifted. Like something had shifted where Gorney who had missed a couple of goals on the siren previously, kicks the goal. Something had changed then. Like we came back against Geelong at Geelong. Never happens. Something had changed. So we were watching the grand final, and I built up so much faith in the team that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And halfway through that third quarter and during that second quarter, I'm going, oh God, like I almost thought we were going to do it. Like at the start of the first, I was like, I think we're going to do it. And then halfway through the third quarter, when the Bont's on fire and Caleb Daniels licking it and Norton's flying at everything, and they're just, Joe Henderson's taking screamers, I'm going, oh, I thought this was going to happen, and it might not. And then the rest is history. Bang, bang, bang. Clayton Oliver, Petrarca. I remember watching the game going, like, and I recorded the whole thing because I was doing some stuff with the AFL.
Yeah.
And I audibly say to the TV, like, track, we need you. Like, because he was sort of around the contest and he was getting tackled and he's a bit fumbly. It's in the third and it's so hot and Bont kicks the goal. And I was just saying, like, you're our star. Like, you're our star. We need you. Like, we need you right now. Like, Clayton, we need you. Like, where are you? We need a leader to stand up. And then what Petrarca did in that second half of that third term, and then Clayton
don't
out
even
of the
remind
midfield.
me, mate. Just stop right there. Right?
It was absurd. And then, yeah, that final siren where T-Mac kicks it, it still didn't quite register. But when it registered was when all the players that didn't play ran on in their Guernseys, and it started to look like a grand final celebration. I was like, oh my God, like they've done it. Like, and they're all running, like all the twos blokes running on with their Guernseys. I was like, oh my God. And then the weirdest thing happened was like I had this built up emotion and I couldn't leave my house. So like it was sort of got to 11:30, quarter to 12. The coverage started to wrap up and it's like, do I just
go to bed?
Like, go to bed? Like I felt like a pot boiling on the stove that just needed to rip the lid. I was like, what? Yeah. So that was a really weird experience. I went and did a live stream on my YouTube channel and had a couple of cans and started playing some Evo and celebrating with the subscribers. And it went well into the night. And then I just started FaceTiming every man and their dog. But yeah, it was bizarre. But I still can't believe they did it, to be honest.
Yeah. Mate, us Saints fans, we look at Melbourne and we're like, it's given us a bit of hope, to be honest. You know, that the way that you broke the drought, why can't we do it? And Rat said that pre-season. He's like, why not us?
I loved that. That really resonated with me. I watched that clip of Rats. The thing that I started to think of was no one has, in the history of AFL, has ever not won a flag in 70 years like the Swans. So in my head, like in the last couple of years, I'm like, so we're going to see one in the next 13 years. Like it's going to happen because it's like never has anyone gone longer than 70 years. So in the next 13 years, the Saints will get one. They have to.
I prefer one earlier, but yeah, 13 years would be fine. I've waited 18 or 19 since I joined membership. But Sunday's game, 110. Actually, curious question. That third term where you kicked that quick run of goals in the grand final, obviously everyone talks about the Dees being a super fit team. Super fit. Just run all day.
Yep.
On Footy Classified, they talked about the breakdown of your performance in every quarter so far. And obviously first and second, pretty average, pretty slow. Third, obviously domination this year. And then fourth, again, back to how you are in the first and second, kind of slow. Do you reckon the players, when they run out in the third term, they think of that granny and they're like, yeah, let's go up a gear? Do you reckon that pushes them, or is it just a
wonder
coincidence?
if it's a tactic. Like I don't think it is. I with my footballing knowledge of under 19s in the Bs, in the twos, I assume it's like, let's play our brand all game, and it wears teams down. Like the defensive efforts and like teams coming out of the back line having nothing to kick to, or they're going to have to run through the brick wall with hands to try and get through. And the way that our players cover and tackle is just so exhausting and so tiring, where teams are like grinding for 2 quarters. And then I assume it's like halfway through the third, they sort of go, oh God, it sort of breaks them a little bit. They get third quarter to reset and throw everything at us. And that's how the game sort of happens. Like it's a grind. We break teams. And then in the last quarter, they try to come back, or maybe we take a little bit of the pedal off. I assume that that's how it is, but it would surprise me if it's like halftime. All right,
And they
guys, we
just watch
fooled
the
them.
highlights.
Let's just do what we do every game. And yeah, they check the highlights on. All right, Clayton, you run through, and
Yeah.
Lukey Jackson, you do what you do. Yeah, I assume it's like, yeah, death by 1,000 cuts when you play the D's, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, Hawthorn kind of changed that narrative a little bit, didn't they,
Well,
last week? The way that they were
why,
quite clever
yeah.
with a little couple of things, like was it Magnuson on whatever his name is, Magnuson, who
James
took
Magna.
on Langdon, kept him to only 9 touches, and then the
Yeah,
whole
clever.
Hawks forward line, the way they played May and Lever, and kind of just or May
Yeah, I don't know
particularly,
why
just
May was getting sucked up like that.
he was up on the wing at times.
He normally just lets, like, if someone's on the lead and they're getting past like the half forward line, he normally just lets them go, and someone else just mans the mark and he rolls
Yeah.
back. So yeah, I was watching that footage going, what was going on there? Yeah, what I like is like we are the hunted, and it's sort of cool as like a footy fan to see what teams bring us every game. Like sometimes they'll tag Petrarca and Clayton gets 40. So then they tag Clayton next week and Petrarca gets 40.
Petrarca
And then
gets
it's like,
yeah.
we've got plans for Max Gawn, and Luke Jackson plays 80% of the ruck. But I like that there's a puzzle to solve every game. And even against the Tigers, when they were kicking to the 45 and then kicking back out and then kicking back in board and then and for a quarter and a half, like, we're solving the puzzle. And what I've liked about Goody, Simon Goodwin, is the last few years, like, him and his team have really been good at like adjusting mid-game, and that never happened back in like 2019 and 2020. If a team kicked 6 in a game, there was nothing we could do about it. But now there's like a bit of problem solving, which is really interesting to watch as like a neutral footy fan. Is like, how did the D's respond to teams who are bringing really creative ideas to take us down? So yeah, I'm excited to see how the Saints approach it. I don't really like the approach when teams say, oh, we just want to play our best footy against their best footy and see how it goes. Because I don't know, for me, it's usually the D's win by sort of 5 goals if that is the case. But I like when teams do the old Alistair Clarkson, like bring something different, try to take away our strengths. And yeah, because they're the funner games for me to watch, because it's like, how is our team going to respond? And if we don't respond to it and we lose, it's one in the bank that we can learn from. So yeah, I'm pumped for Sunday.
I think just naturally with our lineup, we're bringing a few things that are a little bit different to what any other club has brought this year. So first of all, we're a top 4 team and you haven't played a top 8 team yet. That's a big thing. Yeah, I think you've played, the highest was maybe 9th, and I think that's Richmond at the moment, or something like that. And we've got 2 capable rucks like you.
Yeah.
That is like...
Are they both in? Are they both in?
Marshall will come back in, yeah. So it'll be Paddy, it'll be Ryder and Marshall versus Gawn and Jackson.
They're both bigger than Jackson as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Marshall probably plays on Gawn, because he can kind of lumber around the ground and make him accountable. Up. Yeah, and Ryder's got the leap like Jackson. So,
well, let's bring in Magic Door and go one more and try.
Yeah. That's one thing that a lot of Dees fans I've spoken to are like, I reckon Brisbane can get us with their forward line, but I reckon the other teams are Saints because they've got the 2 rucks, and we haven't played anyone like that. And we can go forward and kick goals with our rucks. Yeah,
genuine target in the forward line as well. So it's not like we're versing a team, I don't know, that doesn't have a real genuine key forward, maybe like a Collingwood where, one of our lesser forwards can sort of stay on a Meyer check potentially, and then we got May, Lever, Tomlinson, whoever rolling off. It's like, one of our backline are going to have to be just a bit of touch on Maxi King. Otherwise, he'll kick 55 goals in the game. He can get his hands to anything. And what I like about Stephen May potentially playing on him, I think it'll be Harrison Petty if he comes back in. But what I like about Stephen May playing on him is in the last few, because I've seen post-game interviews where Stephen May goes, geez, Max King's a freak, is that he doesn't have the size to go with Max King, but Stephen May's so clever with the bodying that, like, you see him like work Max King under the ball or away from the ball, just really smartly, and it does enough to bring it to ground. And then I feel like our system, even though you guys have some of the best small forwards at the moment, seems to come in and contribute and sort of mop it up. But it is, it's going to be interesting. He's going to be the man. If he kicks 5, I don't think we win. Like, I think
Well,
he's pretty crucial.
that's what
And then
all
Membry always gets off the chain when we
yeah,
play you
remember I was
guys.
looking at previous games. Like there's like 4 games in the last 8 games where Membry's kicked 4 goals.
Yeah.
Like, why does Membry do that? We had Bruce back then, but it could be well another game where Membry's the one that's kicking more goals than King, because King's getting all the focus. We'll have King, we'll have Membry, Marshall, and Paddy Ryder resting there. Is Lever going to that Membry type, do you reckon? Or would it be a May if Petty's going to King? Like, what would your
Joel
matchups be?
Smith is out as well, who is like a smaller frame, but he can play on talls because he's got the leap and the athleticism.
Yeah.
But he's out. So I don't know whether like a Tomlinson comes in. So we've got Petty on like a big boy, Tomlinson on a big boy, May doing his thing, and Lever coming in to give a bit of a chop out. What I do like about our defense, and this is what we talk about as in like selflessness and team buy-in, is there's a system to the way they do it. So I used to go to these games in like 2013, 2014, and there was like images on AFL photos of like 4 Dees players spoiling each other. Like there was just, and there's no other player in the frame. It's just like 4, because they had no idea what they were doing. But now what I like is if Stephen May is bodying a Max King, someone's going to come over and give him a chop out as well. And they sort of know when to go and know when not to go. And they also know who's flying and who's got to be at ground level. And there's never really more than 1 or 2 flying in the contest if someone's got it. They're just so smart the way that back line goes about it. Potentially we bring in another big boy, maybe Tomlinson. Tommy Mack went back last week and Luke Jackson's back. So maybe it's Tommy Mack goes back as well. I'm not sure. I'm so excited for the clash though, because I think we're going to learn a lot from both teams. And I can just see, I'm pretty bullish about the Saints this week. I'm not sure why.
You're pumping us up a lot, mate. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, well, because...
false sense of security, aren't you? You're just kind of making me all excited. Then come Sunday...
Well, some of my mates used to do that all the time. Like they were Geelong supporters. I'd be going to GMHBA. We'd be 17th on the ladder. They'd be first. And they'd be like, mate, seriously, I think you guys are a real sniff. We'd lose by 80 points. Yeah. And I'd be like, the whole walk in, I'm going, this is very condescending.
It happened to me too. I went to school in Geelong. So my best mate's a cat. And we go down.
What school did you go to?
I went to Geelong College.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Where did you go?
Oberon.
Yeah, actually, I was looking up some. I don't know if this is you, but some player stats. I don't know if this is. It's got like
Pulse?
Hey,
Sporting Pulse.
What is it? My Game Day. I don't know. Torquay. Did you play for Torquay or?
Yeah. Or I think Sporting Pulse is My Game Day now.
Like 8 matches, 11 goals, 1.38 goals per game in 09.
They called me Jack Higgins back in the day.
Taking the piss there. 3 goals, 3 games, 14 games, 4 goals, 2014. I don't know.
Yeah. Was that 2014?
2014 Colts grading. Was that St. Mary's?
Yeah, I was a back pocket plugger in St. Mary's. I moved clubs, so big news down at the Surf Coast. Went from Torquay to St. Mary's. Couldn't get into the ones. I was playing in the twos, but in Div 2, and that was very rare. Down in Geelong, it's like usually the ones would be Div 1 and then the twos would be like Div 3 or 4. But St. Mary's, great culture. One's in Div 1, two's in Div 2. So I was in a good standard, just playing in the back line. Not many snags that year.
Nah, that's all right. Biggest worry on your end going into this week? Is it more Dees attitude? Is it we're due a loss? Is it Saints are pretty good? What's the biggest concern?
The biggest thing that I'm worried about is that we leak more goals than what we normally leak. From like what I like about the Saints at the moment is how they can run the ball end to end. I don't actually know the stats and the figures around this, but all the highlights that I see on your footy classifieds and AFL 360s is like from the back line, that chain of like handballs and kicks, it goes really, really quickly. And you can get teams on the hop where it's almost you guys are walking into open goals. Like I don't understand how there's no one in defensive 50. I'm really worried that that we're gonna like. My worst case scenario is that we see that on the weekend. Like we just see like you guys just strolling into goals because what you guys are doing and the tactics that you guys have employed is really, really top four standard, and it's just undone us. I'm hoping that we don't see that, and you guys have to kick long to the contest, and the grid is in place. Like if we can
If we do that, I'll put my hands up and walk out.
If we can defensively shut down the Saints, who are a team that are humming at the moment with their attack, that'll give me like the biggest bit of confidence going for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I'm just worried about the scoring a little bit. We try to keep teams to 60 points. I can see a Saints kicking 80-ish, and if you're kicking 80-ish, then it'll be close because we only kick 90 points.
Yeah, I think your average score is probably 13, 14 goals, which is around our average at the moment as well.
We have been missing a lot.
Yeah, well, I think you're number one or number two for accuracy. Same with us, based on one game, you know?
Yeah.
But Hawthorn kicked the biggest score that you've conceded all season last week, 81.
Yeah.
That was the biggest score.
Yeah, and it felt like it. Like usually it's 1 or 2 goals a quarter, but there was sort of patches where they were kicking 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to see this team defense lock in quickly, and I want to see us really stop that transition ball from the Saints. Because if you get a few of those, I'll start to get a little bit worried.
Yeah, but you've got to. We haven't even talked about it yet, but the midfield quickly. You've got obviously Clayton Oliver. You've got probably the 2 best mids, folled by the 2 best rucks in the comp. That's pretty handy.
Yeah,
pretty handy. And then you've got Brayshaw, Viney obviously goes through there.
Lukey Dunstan.
Lukey Dunstan. I don't reckon he's getting a game this week. I don't know.
Well, Tommy
I don't know
Sparrow,
how he went last week, but
he's very clean around the contest. Like he was coming in for Jack Viney. And something that is so integral about Jack Viney. So Jack Viney, when he came to the club, was our Clayton Oliver and Petrarca at the time. Like it was like Nathan Jones and then Jack Viney. And it's crazy because Jack Viney is still very, very good sort of B grade AFL footballer. Like not in the elites, but he's sort of better than just a role player. And I feel like he would be an elite mid in a lot of other sides. But so Jack Viney plays this crucial role of being that bull, and he allows like Petrarca and that, who can play that role, to be sort of not as contested footy. So when he went out, it's like a pretty important cog in the sort of wheel of the Melbourne midfield. Luke Dunstan came in and he was really good at it. Like, and I know it's obvious and everyone's known that for years, but I haven't really watched Luke Dunstan that closely. But he was really clean at ground level, putting his head over it, and played a really, really good role. I probably prefer Tom Sparrow over him because of his run and his ability to get on the scoreboard, and he sort of plays a bit of mid and forward. And I think he'll be back because he had COVID last week. But Lukey Dunstan, he's been pretty handy for the boys.
Who ins and outs wise? So Sparrow will come back. You get Jackson,
Cozzy, Sparrow, Jackson,
Cozzy.
Petty.
Yeah.
Joel Smith is out. So I don't know whether they're going to put T-Mac back, and because Jackson's coming in, keep Weedo in the side.
Yeah.
I don't really like that because I don't really want Tommy Mac going back. He's good, like sort of one-on-one, and he can defend. But golly gosh, in like 2016, whenever he had the ball in the back line, he thought he was Christian Salem and would just bite off the most absurd kicks. Him and his brother, I don't know, like just delusions of grandeur, the boys. But and that's why it's good having like some really solid defenders who just play their role. Like just get it out. Just get it out of here. We don't have to be like superheroes unless it's like Christian Salem who actually has the capabilities to do it. But good question. I hope Weedo stays in. He played that ruck role pretty well, that Luke Jackson role last week, just sort of did enough that he, and got on the scoreboard. Yeah, who knows? I don't actually know. I'm keen to see. Do we even get the teams this week? Today?
We should. I think we should
get like the extended.
Because it's Sunday. I think then they'll do the official team tomorrow at 5. And we should get Marshall, Billings, and Jones potentially as well.
Do you reckon
this will be? Yep.
Do you reckon the Cairns fatigue will play a factor?
Everyone says that. All the Sainers on Big Footy all complaining about that. Like, silly fixture. Why'd they do that?
We used to play.
interstate games.
Sorry. Yeah. So you played 2 interstate games.
Well, we played Monica the week before on the Friday night against the Giants in Canberra, then flew to Cairns.
Yeah, we used to play games in like Alice Springs. Well, Darwin actually, before we moved to Alice Springs. I think we still play a mixture of both. But the Darwin games, we were just horrible the week after because of the humidity, and they'd have like the cool rooms and the towels on their heads, and it was 32 degrees, and they'd lose 7 kilos. I'm not sure it's that extreme, but yeah, it could play a bit of a factor.
We're supposed to be fit. Everyone talks about us being super fit, and it was.
Your third quarters
Saturday
have
night,
probably been better than our
break,
third quarters.
Yeah, our third. Well, last week was the only third quarter so far that we've lost for the year.
Yeah.
Which was disappointing. But our second halves, our percentage, like our win percentage in the second halves, is bigger than Melbourne's.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign. So if we're with you at halftime, I dare say both teams will come out. Nah, but it should be a good contest.
That third quarter will be unreal.
Huge.
If that's the case. Do you have any apprehension about playing at the G? Like, what's your sort of record at the G at the moment?
No, I always say in our videos after we play at the G, like, can we change our home ground to the G? Because we play it so much better than Marvel. Marvel's the dimensions not too different to the G, but it's just a bit more compact. Like coming out of D50, it feels like you're zoned in a bit more. And I feel like that suits Melbourne's kind of stranglehold when we're trying to kick out from a point. And that happened last year when we played you in Spud's game. We couldn't get it out of the back 50. You kick a point, rinse and repeat. You should have won by 10 goals that game. I remember but you didn't. But the G, we've got, Brad Hill, Nasai Wanganeen, Malira is actually hitting really good form. D-Max actually turning into a very good winger. And we've got players like Ryan Burns and these sort of guys that can come back in and run and spread. And we're a pretty quick team in terms of like foot speed, but we also move the ball quickly. And the G, our best performance this year was against the Hawks, and we beat them by 70.
Oh God.
And we played them. It was literally the most perfect 4-quarter game. We just killed them everywhere, all over the ground. So if this was at Marvel, I would be feeling more nervous, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's interesting. The Sainers. I love it.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for the chat. Before we end it, just give me your final prediction on most goals, most disposals, and margin. Obviously, you're going to pick the D's. I mean, you've talked up the Saints for about 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick the D's, but I want it on record that I have a bad hunch. I just have this
It's on record.
Hunch. Yeah. It's on record. I've got a bad hunch. And I'm going to look like a loser if we win and we win comfortably. I'm going to look like the most pessimistic.
Yeah, you're going to cop it in the DMs. Like, mate, you're not even backing your own club. 15 in a row.
Well, I'm going to back them, but I have a hunch. And anyway, we'll see how we go. Maybe it's the years of crippling defeats. 15 years. It's probably
it wears you down.
Yeah, it's probably still in my DNA somewhere. I'm going to go the D's, and I think we're going to be in trouble throughout the game. I'm really liking what I see from the Saints at the minute. I think we'll be put on the back foot and we'll be tested, and that's exciting. I think it'll be death by 1,000 cuts. I think we're going to hopefully get the game on our terms in the second half, grind it out, and maybe kick a couple of sealers or junk time toward the end and win by 20 points. So I'll tip the D's by 20 points. And most disposals, I'll say. So one thing that I will point out, if you haven't really watched the D's too closely and you're an opposition supporter, watch Clayton Oliver's running defensively. Like whenever there's a kick inside defensive 50, he's usually like at the ground level, like one of the first handballs to mop it up.
He's a freak.
So he is so important to us. And I just think that's got to be highlighted. And that's why he gets like in the coaches' votes every week, because he might not get on the scoreboard like Track, but he's always back, like intercepting and mopping up in defense, which for years, we never had two-way running midfielders until Roosie came in. And just to see that, I love it. And I love pumping that up. I'm going to say Clayton Oliver will be most disposals with 34.
34. That's pretty good. That's pretty low for his count, but solid.
Yeah, it's a shocker. Yeah, he's got to get dropped.
Yeah. I'll go. Yeah, the midfield, like Steely. We're talking about on the potty. Does
Ah,
Steely sacrifice his attack game and go for the tag? Because Steely's still probably one of the best taggers in the game if he does it. But
and
it's
the good
like,
thing about that is he could sacrifice like 15 disposals, but he's going to
yeah,
get 20.
for
He's
everyone
going to get
else.
20 or 20, 25, but he could also
Yeah,
stop someone. So I rate that if that was
yeah.
to happen.
I'm gonna go Steely. I reckon he's gonna get most touches. I reckon he's gonna do the man on man tag where it's kind of he's gonna be watching whoever's getting off the chain. That's what we
Yep.
thought. We're like, he'll go Oliver at the first bounce, but if Track's getting off the chain, he'll go to Track. So I think Steely's that defensive mid on Sunday. And
Yep.
then Jonesy comes in, he can go on the attack. Gresh can come in, he goes on the attack. And then Crouchy, Seb Ross, these sort of guys will just be that little bit of support. Not the X
Yep.
factor, but they just they're the big bodies in there. So I'll go Steely. He'll keep Oliver to 29
That's
and he'll have
amazing. Yeah.
31. So it'll be close.
Yeah. That's a great
And
hit out.
Kingy to kick 4 and Saints by 5 points.
God, I'll take that. If we lose by 5, that'll be one of those ones where we can learn from. I just love it. I love the problem solving. I love the puzzle that we get every week. I love when teams offer us something different. And we've had that pretty much every game this year. And it's weird rocking up and sort of going, oh, what are this team doing differently? And, oh, we're not quite handling it quite well. Oh, we kicked 4 in a row. Geez, we're in front. Oh, like it's just, it's such an enjoyable, insightful, interesting time to be a Dees supporter. And it's,
Yeah.
I'm really pumped for Sunday. And I think it should be a ripping clash.
Should be a ripper, mate. Well, thanks for giving 41 minutes of your precious time. I know you're a busy man, but hopefully it's a good game on Sunday. Mother's Day as well. So, yeah, good day all around. So hopefully Saints get up and you have a good weekend.
Beautiful, Jake. I appreciate you getting me on. And, good luck to the Saints for the rest of the year. And hopefully Sunday's a ripping clash.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for that.